جزى الله أصحاب النبي محمد جميعا كما كانوا له خير صاحبي وآل رسول الله لا زال أمرهم.
One of the things about putting your house in order, it brings about a protection for you and your family from the hellfire. Allah orders us in the Quran, in the interpretation, the meaning, O you who believe, save yourselves and your families from a fire whose fuel is men and stones, over which are appointed angels, stern and severe, who disobey not from executing the commands they receive from Allah. Okay, so here, understand, guys, by putting your house in order, by safeguarding your home, you are safeguarding yourself and your family. You are protecting your family from the hellfire. Okay? So this is a great motivating factor behind putting the house in order. And also for those of us who are heads of the household. If you have a husband, your husband is the head of the household. For those of you who are not married, for those of you women who are single, raising children by yourself, you are the head of your household. And this is a great responsibility that you will have to bear before Allah on the Day of Judgment. The Prophet ﷺ once said, Allah will ask every shepherd, or meaning every responsible person, about those whom he was responsible for. Allah is going to ask you whether you took care of them or whether you neglected them. Subhanallah. So for those men, you're going to stand before Allah on the Day of Judgment in chains. And Allah is going to ask you, how did you care for your family? Did you look after your wife? Did you abuse her? Or did you treat her the way Allah ordered you to treat her, with justice and kindness? Did you take care of your children? Did you provide and maintain? Did you give them a nice place to live? Allah is going to ask you about that. And for you sisters who are not married and have children, Allah is going to do the same for you. He's going to ask you, how did you care for your children? Did you give them a sound Islamic education like you're supposed to do? Or did you take them and put them in front of the television and allow the television, to entertain them? Okay? So this is one of the number one reasons why it is so important for us to put our households in order, because you're going to be asked about your home on the Day of Judgment. Allah is going to ask you how you maintained your responsibility on the Day of Judgment. We need to also understand that the home is a place to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves away from evil, and to keep ourselves away from evil people. This is why Allah has ordered the woman to stay in her house, not as a punishment, but a protection. Because women, we find it so easy to backbite. We find it so easy to slander. We find it so easy to gossip. Plus, we are jealous creatures. We become jealous of other people. A mother can become jealous of her own daughter. Can you know that's how devious and sick we women are? Or a daughter can become so jealous of her mother. Subhanallah. So this is why Allah orders us as Muslim women to stay in our homes, because it keeps us away from other people's evil, and it also protects others from our evil. The Prophet ﷺ once said, Blessed is the one who controls his tongue, and whose house is sufficient for him, and who weeps over his mistakes. Subhanallah. For the person who can watch his mouth and stay in his own house, he's protecting others against his evil, and he's protecting himself from others' evils as well. Also, the Prophet ﷺ said, there are 5 things. Whoever does one of them, Allah will be with him. And those are visiting the sick, going out for jihad, entering upon your leader with the intention of giving him advice, or sitting in your house so that the people are safe from you and you are safe from them. So here again we can see in this wonderful hadith that the home is a place to protect yourself, to keep away from evil, and to keep your others away from your evil as well. And also another reason why the home is such a retreat is because most of us spend our time at home. Outside of working or going to school, you spend most of your time at home. And also, paying attention to the home is the most important means of building a Muslim society. And so now what we're going to do is go into the first step. What is the first step in formulating or establishing the Muslim home? The first step in establishing a Muslim home is, of course, choosing a mate. Choosing a mate. It all begins with choosing a husband or choosing a good wife. Okay, when it comes to marriage, so many Muslim marriages today fail. And the reason why so many Muslim marriages fail is because we did not make a good choice in choosing a mate. When it comes to marriage, how should we choose our mate? We should first look to see what Allah says. Allah tells us in the Quran, in the interpretation of the meaning, He says, and marry those amongst you who are single, and also those who are salihun, which means pious, capable, and fit. Okay? This is how we blow it. As Muslim women and men, we're too busy marrying for looks, or we're marrying out of desperado. This is a big thing. Nowadays, Muslim women, a woman is so tired of being alone and wants a man so bad that she will overlook everything just to say she's got a man, and she'll settle with a loser. Allah tells us to marry those amongst us who are most capable, most pious, most fit. That means you should look for the man who is most pious, most capable, most fit. Don't sit there and just settle for anyone just because they're an Arab, or settle for someone just because he's a man, or settle just because that person claimed to be a Muslim. When choosing a wife, we need to consider the following. The Prophet ﷺ said a woman may be married for 4 things: for her money, for her family background, her beauty, or her religion. You should marry the one who is religious. May your hands be rubbed with dust. This means in order to prosper. And what a lot of people do is they misinterpret this hadith. They read this hadith and think that it means that a man can marry for any of those reasons. That's not what this hadith means. What the Prophet is saying here is so many men make the wrong choice. So many men will marry a woman because she's beautiful, or because of her family, or because of her money. And this is why their marriages don't last. The Prophet is saying here, you should marry the woman who is religious, because this is how you will prosper. This is how your marriage will thrive. This is how what determines whether or not your children will be reputable or not. Okay? Also, the Prophet ﷺ has told us that this world is all temporary conveniences. And the greatest joy in this life is a righteous woman. Subhanallah. If so many men would think about those words before they jump up and marry. Nothing in this world is forever. Everything in here is temporary. Beauty. A woman can be beautiful, but she's going to get old. Her beauty will fade away. A person can be wealthy, but that wealth can fade away. Okay? This world, nothing in this world is forever. Everything will fade away eventually. But one thing that won't fade away is righteousness, taqwa, righteousness. A righteous woman, no matter how old she is, she'll still be righteous. She'll still be honest. She'll still be dependable. She'll still be true. She'll still be God-fearing, even if she's 70. So you brothers need to reflect upon those words of the Prophet before you jump up and marry these women, because you're looking for some woman off of television or whatnot. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, let every one of you have a thankful